The reason people lose so much while they're trading is because they don't know where to get in and where to get out of the markets and to be able to time those levels. Knowing when to buy and when to sell, not getting in too soon or too late, is going to significantly increase your crypto trading profits. And with what I'm going to show you, you're going to learn how to time the markets a lot better, and it's going to allow you to start making bank on these trades. So I'm going to take a deep dive in showing you my strategy on making sure that I'm getting in at the proper times on the chart. And I'm also going to share with you a lot of the tools and how I use them to be able to identify these areas. So if that sounds good, make sure you hit the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel if you like trading and investing. Check us out on Discord, Instagram. We have an amazing trading community. Also, guys, before we get into example one, I'm going to be explaining all of this in chronological order. So if you skip around, you're not going to be able to understand what's at the end of the video. So make sure you watch the whole thing through. All right, so let's take a look at sand on a 1 hour frequency for our first example. So what most people do is they wait for things to move significantly up, for the buy side pressure to be really strong, and then they're going to pile into the market. So for example, we find this uptrend here where we see our lows are getting consistently higher. We then break this neckline level here and the price pushes up. This is where a lot of people, especially if they're breakout trading, are going to look to get into the market. The problem with this is that markets are going to trade in a range, and I'm going to show you a little bit about what I'm talking about in a second, but we can figure out whether or not it's in an area where price is probably going to flip or if it's going to continue moving up. When you're waiting for prices to sell off significantly and then you let it move significantly up before you start buying, the problem with this is that now, say for example, you're buying here, your take profit where you want to sell is going to be up here. Now we have to pick a random level along this line here for our stop loss. So if this makes a new low down here, this will get stopped out. The problem is this risk reward is awful, and most people aren't even using risk reward when they're buying things when they're moving significantly up. And this is often a product of FOMO, or fear of missing out. If you're watching things pump up and then you're getting into them, you're not anticipating those moves or being reactive on a technical basis, and you're going to end up getting smoked. And this is what we saw a lot in Bitcoin. We didn't have people buying down here at 12 or right here at 20K. As soon as it started passing the 40, 50K mark, this is where everyone started racing to buy it before it got too high. And then all of the people that were in here were using these people as exit liquidity, and smart money was exiting the market while people are FOMO buying in. Why? Because the price is already way up here. It's in a high range instead of being towards here at this lower range and buying around $16,000. So instead of having a really crappy risk reward, what we want to do is have the risk significantly smaller than the potential take profit. But the problem is now we're getting long with a stop loss not under a recent low in the middle of this trend. Okay, we're not being patient, and then look what happens. Price moves down. It's still following this uptrend. It's still moving in the direction of the trend that we're trying to trade, but we're already longing in such a high period that this is oftentimes a big no-go in the game of trading. So unless you're following a system where you're following that trend once it's established, okay, you're oftentimes going to get in the middle of nowhere, and then the price is going to end up coming down and stopping you out. Okay, this is where it's helpful to establish a trading range so that we can start getting in at periods where it's probably actually likely going to reverse. So in order to find a range, we need periods of significant low and significant high. Then we need another low so that we can start looking for an area where we're going to hit that supply zone into that upper period of the range, so then we can look to actually enter the market at those periods. And there's a bunch of tools that we can use once we're at those areas to say whether this is going to be a good trade or a bad trade, right? But to start off, what we can do, and this is very simple, is take this trend line along this low, go up to our high region here. We see support, turn resistance, oftentimes means that this area, this supply area, is probably going to be a resistance zone for sand. So now as this trend develops up, we're not trying to get long into a zone that's probably going to sell the price action off. We can actually identify this as a potential sell zone, and now we're going to get an opportunity to enter the market at a much better area. The next things I'm going to start showing you is how to use RSI, how to use MACD, and a few other things to be able to have confluences and extra supporting evidence that these levels are actually going to flip. So now we can look to enter more outside of this channel here, have a 1 to 3 risk reward safely outside this zone. So if it does break out to new levels, we get out, but if it reverses down to about halfway down this trend, we're able to take profit for a 1 to 3. So if we go ahead and enter the market, set up our position, say we're risking $1,000, which is what I usually risk on my trades, anywhere from 500 to 1,000. That's going to give our quantity right here, and then go ahead and play this forward. Now we're getting short at the top of this region. We're able to let the price action sell off, and we're able to lock in say right around $3,000. All right, let's look at example number 2 on LRC. So once again, we have our lows down here, but we have a region of potential highs up in this zone. So now we need to use other supplemental evidence in more indicators in tools to be able to figure out which top is actually going to be the resistance so that we're able to get in at the proper time and increase those trading profits. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the things that we can use. So first thing that I'm seeing here is I'm seeing this low, and then I'm seeing this low, and then major resistance off of this level, which is going to lead me to believe that at least when this price action trades up, it's going to hit resistance off this trend line and then potentially move down. Okay, this is going to be a very, very significant level if and when this price comes up to this region. But we need more than that, so we're going to start adding layers to this. So I'm going to use my trends. I'm going to go off of this established low point over here, and I'm going to start working my way up. There's 2 other tools that I like to use to figure out whether or not we're in a good range to actually buy and sell. Okay, so the first thing is going to be an RSI, but moreover than that, divergence on the RSI. We'll get to that in a second. The second is going to be the trend-based fib extension off of our most recent trends. All right, so I'm going to go in here off of my most recent low, and then I'm going to go up to this resistance zone here and then back down. And that's going to give me my 261.8 at the top of this level. Now we're going to use a few other things too. We're going to use an RSI once the price starts developing a little bit more to be able to determine whether or not that's that high point. Okay, so we'll let the price action develop a little bit. Price is pushing up. So now we just got our contact point off of this level here. Once again, off of this first resistance level. We didn't know if it was going to be this one, right? This kind of looks promising. We also have this wick over here, which is also promising, but would allow us to still get into the position safely. And then we have this one. Okay, so I started at this one. It looks like we kind of chopped through that, but had some resistance. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and look at my RSI. Okay, I'm going to have this in the description of the video. All you have to do is open up the document and then go in there and you can add this right to your chart as well. This is just a cloud highlight RSI. It's a custom tool that we built for our community. Okay, so what I'll notice is on this push up in price action here, look at how high this RSI comes up. Price action moves up higher into the 261.8 zone, into our channel resistance over here, but the RSI highlight is actually lower. Okay, this is called divergence. This is going to give us more layers of confluence to know that the market's actually going to flip over. All right, really cool. MACD, moving average, convergent, divergent. I'm not going to dive into that in this video. Also in overvalued territory. Okay, so I can go ahead, double click on my chart to bring that down. Now I have evidence that this resistance zone is looking really good. So once again, I can set up take profit down to this zone. On our private trading team, we have all sorts of intricacies and things that we're using to take profit. Okay, but for now, we're just going to say about halfway through the middle of this trend. So once again, we can figure out our position size, entry here, take profit down here, stop loss at that level, risking $1,000. It's going to give me my quantity right in here. Go ahead and sell at that region. A little bit late to the party on that, but for the sake of example, it's fine. Then we get price action dumping off. Okay, a little bit through our take profit, but right around $3,000 in profit. Again, notice how this flipped at that perfect level as soon as it came up to our first resistance zone, right? Didn't quite hit our underside resistance, but mostly the projection, the channel into a potential high, and then that divergence on the RSI is almost always going to give us those good zones to be able to get into so that you can increase the profits on your trading. You're not getting in midway on the trend. All right, and we can also see this working specifically with sand. So once again, most recent low over here, click up to that first high off of here, back down. Look at the exact high that we had at 261.8 into our channel. Perfect. Do we have divergence on the RSI? This is our most recent push up. Look at how high we are on the RSI. Higher price action, lower RSI, price dumps. Okay, these are the things that you can start using to be able to get in on those zones. I'm not making this up. Okay, this is coming from us doing this a lot of reps. Okay, so this is all really good stuff. So let's take it to the next level here. I have Dogecoin pulled up on a 5-minute frequency. I'm going to show you how I'm deploying a lot of these strategies to be able to get in at the good zones and then be able to take short positions down on a smaller time frame, a 5-minute time frame. So it's a lot faster, and just to showing you how deep this really gets with trading so that you can start picking up on some of these things. So let's let price action develop here a little bit. So what we could do is we can draw our channel down here up to this high. Now we're definitely going to get some sort of resistance into this zone, right? But is it going to be enough for us to get that push down like we saw with our previous examples? Okay, so let's go ahead and do our same trick up to our one down here. Okay, so we do have our 161.8 right in there. If we look at the structure, we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 5. All right, so let's play this forward a little bit more. Okay, so now we're basically at the outside of this. Is this going to reverse? Let's look. Lower price action, lower on the RSI. Higher price action, higher on this RSI. And we don't have a proper wave. We have 1, 2. This is in the middle of our third wave. This is going to move up probably to the 261.8 level before we can even start to get short. So I'm not going to want to take a position in here. We get a little bit of resistance, support on the top of this channel, and then price keeps moving up. Okay, so let's see what happens now. All right, price comes up, hits off some resistance, okay, and starts making a move down. Once the price moves up, we see that that 261.8 level has significant resistance off of 261.8. Okay, so let's take a look at our RSI again. Lower level, higher in the RSI. Lower on this RSI, higher price action. Okay, so let's play this forward a little bit. Now we get this price to break down. This is forming something called a head and shoulders pattern. This is also something that you can start using on your trading. We have our left shoulder, head, right shoulder, back flat down. This is almost always a period where the price action is going to roll off into this direction. So once again, now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a proper wave structure. We have head and shoulders into 261.8 with the divergence on the RSI. Does this look like a region where we could look to take a short at the top of the shoulder? Absolutely. I could get into this region right here, stop loss over this high, still getting in at a good zone midway through my trend. Okay, so if we enter risking 1,000 here, we're gonna have to use this many units. Holy smokes, it's a lot of units, brother. All right, there's an instrument maximum on this. If we get short in this position, we can see, once again, price will reverse down. We're obviously not in with the full amount of units. I don't know what's going on with TradingView. Price comes down. Okay, now we're out for take profit. Probably right around $600. Beautiful. All right, so let's let this price play forward and let's look for the next opportunity. Okay, so we do have a downtrend here. So now we have the downtrend broken up to a new high. Notice how we have our 1, 2, and now we're gonna start creating a new position. So I'm gonna get rid of this. Wait for this wave structure to build up. We got to watch our RSI now too. We're going to watch everything. Gonna be chilling, watching some charts in it. So now we're just waiting for the chart to develop up until we get a proper wave structure. So move up is happening. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We need a little bit more of a push up before I would even entertain getting into this. We round off. Don't break below this level. New highs made. Boom. So now we got our big push. Okay, so now once this starts to turn around, we want to quantify and see if this is going to start giving us a high. We get our turnaround there. Now we break below this low. Boom. That's our high. Let's see what happens here. Do we have hidden divergence on here? No, not yet. So let's take a look off of our projection, starting from this value up to here and then back down. So in this instance, we have our 161.8 off of this level, and then we have 361.8 up here hitting off of that top level perfectly. So let's go ahead and see what the price action ends up doing. So makes another low. All right, tries to break up through that high, does break through that fib level. So if we go ahead and fix our projection, that's looking pretty decent, right? So now I want to see if we can get a highlight strip on this RSI. All right, so now something that's happening in this wave structure that I'm noticing is off of these lows, we're getting an underside retest of this trend. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have our break of structure down here and then a retest on the underside. This looks like an area where we could potentially get in short. I don't know how the risk reward is going to be over this high, something like this. Okay, risk reward's not looking great. So I wouldn't actually take this trade, but for the sake of example, let's see if this does actually move down. It looks like a head and shoulders structure. Again, let's see if we break a little bit higher. All right, so risk reward now is looking really good. All right, so let's see if this is actually fitting any of our technical analysis. So a little bit better on this trend actually. So once again, shoulder, head, shoulder, boom. This looks beautiful. This is an area where we could potentially look to start getting short. If it breaks over this high, then we get out of the position and we lose the trade. If not, we get out halfway through down this trend. It's going to give us almost a 1 to 3. We can get short in here. All right, so if we go ahead and go short here, we can go ahead and play this forward now. All right, once again, we're not in with the full size, but just for the sake of example, price comes down, catches a little bit of support into this region. Right, and then it actually touches our take profit there. So we're able to get out of our position once again for another $2,800 if we're risking 1,000. So you can see we're basically just chipping away shorts into here, shorts into here. I can keep going. I can keep playing this forward. And so following this system, yes, you can be wrong and you can still lose a bunch of trades, but the idea is to be putting yourself in positions where you have a higher probability of being right and being able to exploit that edge. Here's the thing in trading. There's something called risk reward and winning percentage. Like I was showing you, if I'm risking $1,000 to make $1,000, I need to be 50% or higher to be profitable, right? If I'm risking 1,000 to make 2,000, I only need 40% win rate to be profitable. Since we're working with a 1-3 to 1-4 on most of our systems on our private team, we really only need between a 30 and a 20% win rate to at least break even and start making some money. So if we're looking to be right more than half the time or around half the time, you can start making some significant profits, and you don't need to be right. You just need to be positioning yourself in smart areas. This table is going to tell you basically everything that you need to know, and all of these things are going to allow you to increase those trading profits and be able to buy and sell at the proper times instead of getting in late with FOMO and ending up getting stopped out for too many losses. But anyways, guys, I hope this video was helpful and entertaining for you. If you liked it and found it valuable, make sure you write in the comments what you thought about the video. Share with a friend if you think that they would find value in it. Like the video for the YouTube algorithm. Guys, if you're not part of our Discord, make sure you hop into our Discord. Right now, we have a development in the pipeline that is probably the most exciting thing in my trading career for the past 3 years that we're working on. We're going to be slowly unveiling it on our private team and then on the Discord, and then eventually I'm going to share it with you guys on YouTube. Okay, make sure that you're watching for this update. This is going to potentially be game changing for not only me and the team, but for everyone, and we're excited to share it with the world. But that being said, guys, until next time, I will see you all in the next video.